G'day. The winners, the people, the places, and everything that makes country racing great. This is Bush Beat on Radio Tab.
Keys Please past the 250, slapped along. A length and a half in front. Hidden Joy the outside, trying to pick it up. And they were followed next by Annie Mariah, then Gossiping Girl. But Keys Please with 100 to go. A length and a half in front of Hidden Joy is trying hard, going back to the inside. Keys Please in front, and Keys Please coming up to the home turn. Summer of Glory at the 350 leads a neck now to Destroy the Star, and Great Minds on the outside goes up quickly. Boomed is deeper out. It's a ploy, no run. And then followed by Shrek from Well Charred. It's Great Minds in front. Boomed wants to run about, comes to the outside. Well Charred and Destroy the Stars kicking strongly. Destroy the Star in front. Well Charred can't quite pick it up, and Destroy the Star wins by a length. Very wayward in the straight to beat Well Charred. Third, not sure. Shrek's there with Boomed.
The two divisions of last Saturday's Palarenda Stakes run at Townsville, the Townsville Turf Club tab meeting last Saturday, where the 2-year-old fillies division was won by Keys Please for Graham Cleese and Ralph Baker, and Watterson and Charlie de Villa combining with Destroy the Star to take out the 2-year-old Colton Gelding's Palarenda Stakes. As we welcome you to Bushbeat for another week on Radio Tab, rounding up all of the country news. News on the show today about a whole bunch of meetings that are being rescheduled here, there and everywhere. We'll give you the notice board shortly. Look back at the Country Cup qualifier and Stampede qualifier at the Gympie program on the weekend, and a big weekend at Richmond and Charleville respectively for jockeys Tim Brummel and Anna Bakos. Lots of news to get through on the show today. As always, helping us out with that news is Rob Luck. Good morning, Rob.
Yeah, good morning, Tony. Good morning, listeners. And great to hear those Palaranda results there out of Townsville. And I tell you what, Tony, you keep following the Atherton 2-year-old trials after that, because both of those were winners out of those trials a couple of weeks ago, and good stories on social media surrounding both runners. So congratulations, Ralph Baker, Graham Cleese and Charlie de Villiers and Monderson de Villiers. And I wasn't too far away, was I, Tony, from the action there, because I was in Mackay on the weekend, and very enjoyable wedding of my niece, Catherine, who's now Catherine Young. I better get that right, Catherine and Steve Young. And great to see the Mackay Turf Club was able to help this young couple get their wedding after 2 attempts during COVID to get wedding underway. It actually took place on the weekend, and I was able to catch up with, of course, being the driver of the bride. We had a few moments there to make sure she was late on time for the church by listening to the Moonee Valley Cup. She had to just stay in the car till we got that out of the way. But Catherine's been known to enjoy a punt and a day at the races, so it was great to see the Mackay Turf Club could accommodate the wedding there. And also, Tony, we've had a young man who's followed us from the word go since birth. I think my great nephew, Matthew Smith, he was there. I caught up with Matthew. He's still listening to Bushbeat. But it was pleasing to see it at the reception. I came across another avid listener of Bushbeat in Corey Oliver. Didn't get the chance to talk to Corey too much during the night, and it was only late at night that I remembered to write his name down on my hand. Of course, I washed that off the next day. But Corey, great to catch up with you and talk about your success with Have a Lady Luck, I think it was, with Shuey Kendrick, and good luck with the future of that. And thanks for being such an avid listener of Bushbeat, and hopefully you tuned in this morning. It was a good weekend.
Rob, we lost a couple of meetings on the weekend with the welcome rain about. I know we've always said it from the point that we love having the rain around because it's a long time between drinks in country areas especially, but we like to be greedy and we'd like to get the rain after we have a race meeting. But we weren't able to go ahead with the Isisford Ross Cup program, and the Gundawindi Cup, or the Gundawindi meeting that had the rescheduled Country Cup and Country Stampede qualifier also wasn't able to go ahead due to the wet weather. Now, the news that we've had come through from Racing Queensland, first of all, Isisford, they've been granted approval to conduct a meeting coming up on the 7th of November. That's Saturday week, of course, Saturday after the Melbourne Cup, that will still feature the 1400-metre Ross Cup, as well as the Class X plate, Benchmark 55 Class B, and the Maiden plate. Great to be able to keep that racing in the area there for the Isisford Race Club. That meeting rescheduled to the 7th of November. And as far as that Country Cup's Challenge qualifier and Country Stampede qualifier, that has been dogged, this one, because originally, remember, it was meant to be at Clifton and then it was moved to Gundawindi. Well, it's now going to be run on that same Saturday week, 7th of November, and will be run as part of the Chinchilla Race Club non-tab meeting. So there'll be the Country Cup and Country Stampede qualifier, along with the Benchmark 60, Benchmark 55 Class B and a Maiden plate. And a reminder for everyone too, don't get caught up in all of the thrill of Melbourne Cup Day next Tuesday, because noms on those two meetings will close off at 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning. While we're checking the notice board, there's a couple of other notes that are floating around, and thanks to Cole Truscott at Racing Queensland for making sure everyone stays in the loop with all of this. The Cairns Jockey Club program scheduled for Sunday has been transferred to Innisfail. That's deemed necessary to provide additional recovery time for the racing surface there at Cannon Park at Cairns following their track refurbishment process that they're undertaking at the moment. So there are some distance changes there, but that meeting will also feature a couple of qualifiers for the Coral Coast Shield, which kicked off at the Rockhampton Tab program last Thursday. So that's that news on Cairns. That's moving to Innisfail this coming week. And the other bit of news that we had come through is that the non-tab meeting for the Herbert River Jockey Club at Ingham on Saturday the 14th of November has now been rescheduled to be conducted by the Burdekin Race Club at Home Hill because the Ingham racetrack is in the midst of remedial works as well, which means it won't be suitable to conduct the race meeting. So there are some distance amendments available through the Racing Queensland website there as well. So Ingham moves to Home Hill on the 14th of November. Cairns moves to Innisfail this coming Saturday, 1st of November. Isisford get their meeting on the 7th of November, and that Country Cups qualifier and Country Stampede qualifier will now be transferred to the Chinchilla meeting coming up on November 7.
That gives us a good run of meetings out here, Tony, with Barcaldine on Derby Day on Saturday, and of course Melbourne Cup, the twilight meeting at the Longreach Jockey Club, and now we have Isisford on that following Saturday again. And you mentioned those Rockhampton heats of the series, the new series, the Coral Coast Shield, the qualifier for the Beef City Cup Open Handicap at Rockhampton, won by Hayington for Rebecca Binder and Bodine Appo. And in the Fillies and Mares, the qualifier there over the 1400 taken out by Buffy for Adrian Kerm and Maddie McGilvray. So they've secured points or a place in that next stage of that series, Tony.
And that series is going to culminate in the finals, of course, coming up at Townsville. We'll check more news on that as we roll through today. Of course, we did lose that Country Cup and Country Stampede qualifier at Gundawindi on the weekend, but we still had a couple of qualifiers that went ahead at the Gympie Turf Club program. And let's listen back to how Richard was successful in the Gympie Cup and qualifies for the Country Cup now.
Richard leads the way for Young Wheeler. 2 or 3 lengths. Fubs Cowboy won't go away. Marrada making up ground as they swing for home. It's Richard in front for Wheeler. 2 or 3 lengths from Fubs Cowboy, followed by Marrada. It's Richard in the cup. It's going to be Richard to Brisbane. Richard wins the cup. Marrada second. Fubs Cowboy honest for third.
With apologies for the quality of the audio, but that was the best that we could find as far as the Gympie Cup was there, with Ross Cater's call of Richford taking out the big race there on the weekend. And as we always do, Rob, we welcome in Andrew Watts to look back at the Country Cup and the Country Stampede qualifiers. Morning, Wattsy.
Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Rob. And, good morning, listeners. And both qualifiers there at Gympie on Saturday, Rob, were won in very, very impressive style.
Yeah, they certainly were, and it was a meeting that they were lucky, I think, to get the Gympie Cup out of the way, because from the information Barry Fitzhenry sent me, they made 2 attempts to get that Gympie Cup underway on Saturday, with lightning and storms around, bringing horses back to the tie-up stall, and the track very wet by the time they got to the Cup. So that may have played into the fact the margins got to be fairly severe in some of the races, particularly the Stampede qualifier and the Cup. But their crowd was down, Watsy, but the weather conditions and the COVID restrictions played havoc with that. But let's have a look at these 2 heats that were done on the weekend at Gympie before I wrap up the rest of the meeting there at Gympie. And start with the Stampede, because hard stride for Jason Judge and Paul Hamlin. We all know Paul willing to travel around and a heavyweight jockey. This horse carried 66 kilos on the conditions. I think that's pretty impressive, and won by 7 lengths from Victory Toast for Ty Wheeler and Bo Gorman, and See For Yourself, Corey and Kylie Gearin and Stephanie Lacey. Your thoughts on Hard Stride? We all know he's a Metropolitan winner. It was about over 2 years ago, mind you. He just scrapes in with that clause, by the way. So he's a Metropolitan winner. He has been running in Doomben and Eagle Farm recently, but your thoughts, what's he on Hard Stride and his performance?
Yeah, look, he ticks a lot of boxes, Rob. He's an old war horse, isn't he? That was win 14 with 27 minor placings out of 90 starts. You go back through his form, he won the Moraytown Plate 3 starts back. Then he got beaten by a horse called Zoo Style at the Gold Coast, only 4.5 lengths, and that form translates anywhere you go in the country as pretty good form. He really ripped away in the last little bit, didn't he? He's won up to 1,200 metres. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Rob, but initially you're going to think he is going to be a player in this final.
Well, he's certainly not going to carry 66 kilos in the final, and he's amassed a great amount of prize money, over $740,000. I know he's getting along in the tooth, but he's a grass horse, and this was his first start at Gympie, I'm pretty sure, as well. So that's a pretty impressive effort in itself. So Hard Stride, I mean, he goes around those open handicaps in Brisbane when he's raced. His 2 runs at Doomben and Eagle Farm were in August. I mean, he got beaten in them, but he wasn't far off. But I do think, Andrew, that there are others in the final that would also be capable of doing that in those same sort of races. But you have to respect this galloper. His form is on the board already. It was an impressive win. He's not going to carry that amount of weight. And he's going to be able to, or Jason Judge is going to be able to plot the course now as they go to that final. And I think that Moree Town Plate run over the 950 was a pretty impressive win as well. So he's coming in with winning form, and he's going to be well respected in the market.
He is, and without any disrespect to any of the other runners, it was a pretty moderate heat. He was also dual nominated for Gundawindi, and Jason obviously pulled the right rein there, heading to Gympie. Look, he couldn't have done any more with the big weight. And as you said, he's not going to carry that in the final. He'll be up around that 60 kilos, I'd imagine. And look, again, a lot of it's going to come down to barriers, particularly in this country stampede. But when we go across to the Cup, Rob, and a horse I know you mentioned quite a lot on Bush Feet is Richford. He was a very impressive winner, and the course at that stage was pretty wet. And again, as you suggested, margins, you can slightly ignore them. Fabs Cowboy set up a good speed in front, and he was more or less gone at the 600, Fabs Cowboy, but testament to his tenacity. He still plugged away for third, but all honours were with Richard, who was travelling beautifully at the home corner. He came right away in the run to the line. He flopped in last year's final, Rob, but he's progressing nicely this preparation. He's won 3 of his last 4 with a third behind Galapagos, the only beaten runner in the past 4 runs.
Yeah, great to see Ty Wheeler bouncing back. I think he had another Cup win the week before or during the week. He bounced back for Jackie Crompton on Richford. And interestingly, Richford's not been an easy horse to train, from the notes that Barry Fitzhenry sent me, because he went to the Cromptons, and Wayne Crompton, he specialises in show jump riding, and they train this horse in a different way. They really incorporated jumping and swimming to try and get him right, and they have done just that. And they bought him from Rob Heathcote for a Country Cups type horse, which landed him in the final last year. And he's one of those horses that seems to come good at the right time, because his form is stacking up similar to last year. He's come off a third in the Taroom Cup. He's won the Tara Cup at his last run. I think he did a similar thing last year. That 11th of 15 in the final maybe is a question mark, but he has won over 1,600 metres 3 times. But put in perspective, he carried 55 on that heavy track by that stage, and the fact that Ty was able to get him to the front pretty easily, mid-race type thing. Over sand specialists, really, in Maratta and Fabs Cowboy, those gallopers love the sand. And for Richford, for his first run on the track, similar to Hard Stride, he's beaten home the sand gallopers with considerable ease. So he's coming in with the right form again. He's going to be well respected. The question mark only there is, I suppose people might go back through the form and say, well, hey, what about last year? He's finished down the track, but that was last year. He's looking forward to a new final this year, and I know Jackie Crompton will plot the course extremely well to that. So both of those are proven performers, Andrew, and I think they're going to do their stables proud in the final.
Yeah, they'll do their stables proud. I've probably got Richford on that sort of second tier behind the likes of Belonte and Deadly Choices at this stage. He's sort of got him with the SGL sort of one. I've got Splits in that top group as well at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what he does. I believe he's heading to the Charleville Cup today week.
Yeah, so there's some interesting developments will take place with that. I'll just wrap up these Gympie results before summing up anything for the Stampede and the Cup. My Certain. Now, this is a promising galloper at the meeting for Bob Murray and Nat Morton. Good to see Nat getting a winner there. It got up over All Alley and Lady Magic. This one was another one coming off a Taroom win last week's after placings at Gladstone and Eidsvold. So it's one that's in pretty good form. First ride at the track for Heather Pollard, and she got up on Valara de Heris for Jeffrey Schrader, and in fact 3 runs for the stable for 2 wins and a third, and every time ridden by Heather to get those results for the fast and famous 4-year-old over Vincent and Superplux. And Search and Destroy for Terry Hong and Maury Crawford. The Eurozone 5-year-old gelding, second year, 2 starts back, has bounced back with a win in the maiden to get the first win out of 14 overall in Sink and Child Support. But, Andrew, any other news about runners with these horses? You mentioned splits. Any news on Valenti going into the final?
Well, we saw Valenti nommed for Richmond, didn't accept. I believe he's heading to Barcaldine this Saturday before heading to Townsville. There's a mile race over there in a few weeks' time, and I suggest Deadly Choices will end up there as well. Keenly waiting for these. I'm just pressing refresh as we talk here, waiting for these Barcaldine nominations, because I assume we might see SEL in there as well, but no other news at this stage. Split's heading to Charleville for the Cup. He'll be mighty hard to beat there. He's got a great record at the track. I assume Fab's Cowboy will be heading that way as well, but those noms will be out later in the week.
Yeah, and it gets mouth-watering as we wait for the final fields to take their shape and as we progress through these heats. But you mentioned Richmond there, and stay with us because your form knowledge of the Northwest comes in pretty handy here as we look at both Richmond and also of your Charleville with your ventures down there. But in both cases, it was a situation of trebles on the day with Timmy Brummel up in Richmond. Got Richford on the brain here, and Anna Bakos riding the first 3 winners at Charleville. But looking at Richmond, Timmy Brummel's in good form. He looks as fit as a fiddle, and ever since that combination with Boy Foster, when he came back from a little bit of a holiday and got stuck into the riding again, he's been really on fire with his form, and 3 convincing winners there on the weekend at Richmond.
And Timmy is one of the nice guys at racing as well. He'll always pull up for a yarn, and he deserves all the success he gets. Yeah, treble there on the day. He teamed up with Sarah Locke. Now, that was Sarah's first winner as a trainer. She's only saddled up Delilah's Dream, 2 starters for a winner, so that's a pretty good strike rate.
And
won
it was
the
first starter too. What's the first start out of the 2 on the day? It was the first one. That's a pretty good record, isn't it?
The first one, yeah, she's going all right. Delilah's Dream, formerly with Sean Royce, 5-length winner over Total Disdain and Be Present. In race 2 was the second leg of Tim Brummel's treble. This one for Jimmy Jackson, High Zero, a length winner over Flossie Top and World of Pain. That was in the 0 to 60 over the 1,000 metres. Capset returned to winning form for Stephen Royce and Jason Hoopert over the stablemate Level 8, who looked to be a good thing beaten in that race. Definitely one to follow out of the meeting. And Masking finished up in third. That was the open handicap over the 1,200. Third leg of Brummel's treble was on a roughie. American Summer for Tanya Parry defeated the more favoured stable galloper there in Static Lift, and Single Story rounded up the third there. That was a trifecta for Tanya in that race. And the last race there on the card was Brave Jewel. $7.50 in the market. You don't see a Dan Denise Ballard runner go out at those odds, but at a tone for probably a little bit of a disappointing run there at Cloncurry on Tab Day. Defeated Nitro City by half a length for Sean Royce and Jason Hoopert, and Dark Archer wound up in third position for Ray Herman and Matty Gray. And that's another galloper I think we'll see winning a race shortly. That's Dark Archer. But that was Richmond, Rob, and all honours there with Timmy Brummel, and the racing heads to Cloncurry this week.
Yeah, and a couple of things took my eye there. Firstly, Capset's love affair with the Richmond track. In a sense, he's had 3 starts for a win and 2 placings, so it was a good effort first up since July to get that win. And also, what's the new horses coming into stables? You mentioned the ex-Sean Roy's galloper for Sarah Locke. But as well, High Zero was Olivia Cairns' runner. So that's the first starter for Jimmy Jackson. Good to see. I think Jim had a winner the other week. So some of these horses early on in the campaigns, they're acclimatising well to that northwest area, and good to see that depth of stables developing there. And that treble of wins continued, as I mentioned, to Charleville when we go down to the Central Warrego Race Club meeting there. And Anna Bakos, pretty easy to report here. What's he? First 3 races on the day go to Anna Bakos with the treble for Charleville.
And Anna, she's improving every week. Her riding's getting better and better. And again, it's one of these jockeys that have saddle, will travel. She's putting in the hard yards, and she's certainly reaping the rewards. It was Memorial Day there at Charleville Saturday, where some great names were remembered and respected from days gone by in the Central Warrego Race Club. And as we said, Rob, many a time before, these days are so important for country days. Tony Facey Memorial, Jim Pugsley Memorial, Les Baker Memorial, and Neville Green Memorial races, and the Ross Iverson Memorial, which is always the feature on the day. Now, this run here, Corrigan, it might be a bit of a smoky for Les Baker, and this was the third leg of the treble for Bakos. It's only a low graded horse. I think it might be win 5 now from 47, but since joining Les, it's won 2 open races. It loves it there at Charleville, and it defeated Trommel Schlagen by a length and a half, and there's a further 3 1/4 lengths to Achilles Pride into third, but very good win there by Corrigan, Rob, and Les he's lobbed in a couple of good decent races with it, so he has an opinion.
Yeah, it came off a second on Longreach Cup Day, and it's the last 5, 2 wins and 2 seconds. So it's climbing through the grades, and it's gone to open company, and it's really still probably a Class 4 or 5 horse. So great result for Les Baker there. But as you said, that was the end of the treble for Anna. She kicked off the day with All Too Sweet. Raymond Fraser, tell us about that, and My Cousin Bossy for John Patterson as well there in races 1 and 2.
Yeah. All Too Sweet, a very, very dominant winner for Raymond Fraser, and as you said, the first leg of the double for Bakos. Over the Mark Johnson pair, Whiskey Apple, who flies at Charleville, so it makes the winners run even better. And Auric Gold on the comeback trail, as well as the jockey is Ross Tilley in third position. And race 2, My Cousin Bossy, as you said, for John Patterson, wide in the market, $10, defeated the Croc for William Pugsley, and Harbour Trick was in third. Other winners in the day, El Bandito back in the winners' circle for Wayne Baker and Dan McGilvray. That was a demolition job, that one. 6.5 lengths over Billy the Kid. Wayne trained that. Quinella John Rudd on the second horse. And you know the one, Les Baker and Anna Bakos in third. And probably one of the wins of the day, I was talking to Red Alexander yesterday, and there's a bit of money for this one. I watched the replay and you couldn't hear the call. There was plenty of screaming from the crowd here with Elite Grey for William Pugsley and Ross Tilley, a very popular win there. 3 1/4 lengths. Started $2.40 favourite over Get in the Groove and Buddy Ollie. But all honours there with Elite Grey, and as I said, with the Central Warrego Race Club. This time next week, they'll be getting set for Cup Day.
And congratulations to William Pugsley and Ross Tilley. That's Ross's second winner back, and it was on Elite Grey, I'm pretty sure, for William Pugsley that the first winner was back, and 2 wins and 2 starts for the stable for that particular galloper. And also great to see Watsy, I thought, to see Gemma Steele back in the saddle there with a few rides out there at Charleville, as we all know. Very talented jockey. Might be a few weight problems at the moment or issues, but I'm sure Gemma's going to bounce back and continue to pick up rides and hone those skills that she showed right through from apprentices' days after the rides at Charleville on Saturday. Now,
it's great to see Gemma back.
The Country Cups, just to wrap that up with you, and it's great to see that Cole Truscott continues to update all the information for us, that as a result of these heats we've had so far, still important to know that Macaro and Tambo's Heart, who were the winners out of Innisfail, they still have to meet the qualification in the non-tab starts, but Hard Stride certainly does. And Richford certainly does, with the place getters behind Hard Stride, Victory Toast and See For Yourself, also needing to meet those non-tab situations or form guides. But, these fields are taking shape, and we're not going to put you on the spot at this stage for any tips. Watsy, we'll wait for that down the track. But it's starting to take shape, and we're getting a good guide going into these finals.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they're always keeping one eye on these horses that haven't met the qualifying criteria as well to see where they're going to pop up in the coming weeks.
We're at about the halfway point at the moment, guys, as we go through the legs that we've had so far at Taroom, Longreach, Ewan, Mount Isa, Cloncurry, Blackall and Innisfail and Gympie. Of course, that's Clifton/Gundawindi/Chinchilla one to come. This weekend, the Burdekin and Yeppoon clubs will host their various qualifiers for Country Cup and also for the Stampede. Melbourne Cup Day next Tuesday. It's Cumbia's turn. The following Saturday is where we get that rescheduled one at Chinchilla, and then it's going to be a mad dash home with Emerald, Cairns and Roma through the later part of November before we culminate at Doomben in December.
Yeah, I think, Tony, by the time we come back, of course, we missed Melbourne Cup Day on Bushbeat, but by the time we come back to the Bushbeat show the following week, it'll be a show dominated by the Country Cups and the Stampede, with also that big meeting out of Charleville. So Watsy will have done all the form there, and we'll be getting closer to those final tips for these two big events for country racing. Great to have you on again this morning, Andrew, and you're also now off to Cloncurry on the weekend. We'll have a report coming back from that as well the week after Melbourne Cup Day.
Very good. Always good to catch up, boys. Thanks, Tony, and thanks, Rob, and good morning, listeners.
Good on you, Watsy. Great to have you on board. Rob, also having a look at some of the other series that we've been keeping a bit of a watch on. Well, though we will be keeping a watch on as they'll now be kicking into gear. Starting off next week on Melbourne Cup Day, both Eidsvold and Cumbria will host legs of the 2020 Racing Queensland South East Region Burn It to the Valley Point Series. They'll have races through November and December, going through Eidsvold, Cumbria, Mount Perry, Nanango and Esk. And, of course, the Coral Coast Shield Series, as we said, kicked off last Thursday at Rockhampton with the Beef City Cup and that Class 6 plate. The Cairns legs this weekend go to Innisfail, as we mentioned earlier, but then there'll be subsequent legs coming up through Mackay and Townsville before we then head to the finals day. That'll be at the Townsville Turf Club on Saturday, 28th of November, for the Coral Coast Cup and the Coral Coast Lightning, plus the Queen of the Coast.
Yeah, plenty of these series, which is absolutely great for all the racing in country and provincial Queensland, Tony. But we had another big meeting on the weekend, of course, and Tony McMahon was there at Gladstone, and I know that we've had a good winner come out of the QTIS Open Handicap that we're going to hear with best guest for Billy Johnson and Shannon Steffen defeating an Open Company galloper in Drumbeat's Choice, Tony.
They go along the side of the track now. They have the best part of 550 metres to go. And on the outside now, Drumbeat's Choice has gone to the front. He's a neck in front of Best Guess, followed by Al's Breeze. The next horse then along the inside was Money Ad. Conceding was Portsea, and Tales Epsilon was last. To the home turn they race. And up along the inside here, it's just Best Guess in front from Drumbeat's Choice, challenging Al's Briefs coming down the outside, followed by Money Ad. It's Best Guess in front. Drumbeat's Choice is trying hard on the outside. So too is Al's Briefs. Best Guess in front in the closing stages. I don't think they're going to catch him. Best Guess, too good, striding out nicely to the line. Wins by about 2 lengths from Drumbeat's Choice, Al's Briefs. Then the next horse home in the race. We can find
Best Guess taking out the QTIS Open Handicap over the 11.94 at Ferguson Park with the Gladstone Turf Club meeting on the weekend. Rob and Sonia Wiseman, were they riding double at that card as well?
Yeah, the ladies did extremely well with 4 of the 5 wins, but a legendary jockey took out the first race in the program as we welcome Tony McMahon back to Bushbeat. And Tony, Best Guess, he's come off a good Blackall win. He's a Class 4 win at his last start, and he's had the 6 wins now. He had a good weight advantage in that race, and he made use of it to beat Drumbeat's Choice. So welcome to the show again, Tony. Take us through those Gladstone results and tell us about that legendary jockey who was victorious in race 1.
Yeah, thanks very much, Rob and Tony. Well, the Gladstone Turf Club were very appreciative of Cyril Small coming all the way up from the Gold Coast. He got a late SOS on Thursday to see if he'd help out. An acute shortage of jockeys brought about the scratchings of 7 horses, would you believe it, with no riders available. Had Cyril not come up, and he was offered no great incentive to come up, I must say. It was a wonderful effort what he did. 12 horses would have been scratched from Gladstone because of a shortage of jockeys. Look, the problem's been exacerbated, and somewhere along the line it's got to be addressed by the authorities. I've got plenty to say about in the coming weeks and stories I'm about to write. But yeah, Cyril was here. It was great to see him. I haven't seen him for many, many years. He's an old Northern Rivers boy. Came from Casino. His brother Warren rode, and his father Bob was a trainer. And he handled the first winner expertly. Liberty's Gift straight to the front. And it won pretty convincingly by 3.75 lengths. And matter of fact, it won so well, it broke the course record, 49.65 for the 850 metres. So it was a good win, trained by Lee Kernan and raced by the president, David Wendt, and his wife Judy, Liberty's Gift. So it was appropriate that they won the opening race on the card. And I think you'll find Liberty's Gift will win again shortly at Gladstone. The win was quite good, there's no doubt about that. It's a mare by a statue of Liberty. It was a good winner. Now, I know time's a bit of a worry this morning. The second race was Clusterfest. This was the maiden plate over 1,000 metres. And believe it or not, once again, David Wienert and Judy and the Kernan family were successful, trained by Lee Kernan, Clusterfest, by a horse called Cluster, who I don't know too much about. Ridden by Sonia Wiseman. There was a story there. Sonia is a journeywoman jockey. She's ridden all over Queensland and the Northern Territory. She's been in Rockhampton for 12 months. She works very, very hard at the track. She has an endearing smile which wins her across to everyone. Very capable rider, and she's heading off to Adelaide at the end of the Coral Coast Series in the end of November, so she's going to be missing. It's only going to really make things worse up there for jockeys. If we didn't have flying jockeys coming to the tab meetings, there'd be no racing. So Sonia won on that, plus the first owned by Lee Kernan. The third race came along, and this was a good win, a horse called Isis Brumby. It's not a good name, I must say, it's Brumby, because it certainly isn't at Brumby. It's a still a bean. It gets a little bit reluctant about going to the stalls. Only had 3 starts for 2 wins. Once again ridden by Sonia Wiseman, was challenged at the top of the straight by Shenzai, who gave the impression it was going to go straight past it, but then Isis Brumby was kicked, and it's got plenty of ability, trained by Kevin Miller. As I say, it's a still a bean, it's a little bit green, but it's going to go on and win its share of races. That brought us to the race we spoke about, Best Guess. This was the Claro Turns 50 Kiddis Open Handicap. Good to see some of these Kiddis races going through all the classes, but unfortunately the winner wasn't Curious. So Kiddis, Best Guess didn't get the bonuses. Shannon Steffen rode it. You heard the call, it won pretty well. In the last race, Tabby McBride was ridden by Trinity Bannon, trained by John Manson, who brought a team down, and it was successful. In the last, it's by Tavistock, a really staying bred horse from New Zealand. Won convincingly from the Decorator. When I say convincingly, it was a photo, but it held the Decorator all the way down the straight. But a very good meeting. They capped the crowd at 1,200 people. They could have probably had 3,000 there, which they normally get 2,500 to 3,000 on that particular day. Well-behaved crowd, a jovial crowd, a colourful crowd, and it was great to see it back at the Gladstone last Saturday, where they race again on Melbourne Cup Day. And there's no race meeting at Rockhampton on Melbourne Cup Day, boys. In previous years, the jockeys would go down to Gladstone and have a morning meeting there and come back and ride at Callaghan Park, but no races there at Callaghan Park in Rockhampton this Melbourne Cup Day, so the Gladstone races will start around about 12:30.
Yeah, that's always been a unique thing. I look forward to that every year, the combination meetings there, Tony, and that might help a few of the other race meetings on Melbourne Cup Day, because there's plenty of them in terms of getting jockeys, and we'll revisit that jockey issue down the track, because it's bubbling up again, that particular one. But I was particularly taken with Tabby McBride out of that meeting, Tony. He's a horse, he was 3 wide all the way. He was very tough at the end, and great to see him get up for that win. He's done a similar thing at Ewan a few starts back.
Well, yeah, very gutsy win, Tabby McBride, and the further they go to Tavistocks, the better they perform.
And any other news from up there as we are about to wrap up Bushbeat this morning?
Well, I don't think there's a great lot of news. We've covered it. As I say, Sonia Wiseman's leaving the area. Zoe White's gone to Adelaide. So we're in trouble with jockeys. As I say, we're very fortunate the jockeys come to fly, and jockeys come from South East Queensland for the TAB meetings, which are creating tremendous interest. I think the other day we had 3 Group 1 winning riders riding at Rockhampton, and if that doesn't get betting turnover, you're positive nothing will. No, I think generally speaking, the racing's very strong. The 2-year-olds are ready to go, and we'll have plenty of racing coming up in the near future. So, but,
and we'll have you
on Saturday. On Saturday. Oh, sorry, the turn on Saturday is a non-patrons meeting too, boys, just to get that message across.
And we'll have you back down the track with different results coming out of that, and we'll revisit that jockey issue in more detail when we get a bit more time on Bushbeat. Tony, great to have you on this morning yet again.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Busy weekend coming up, Rob. As you've highlighted already, no Bushbeat show next week. Of course, we have to make way for some big 3,200-metre race at Flemington, as we do each year. So we're going to have a bumper show the week after, trying to catch up with all of the news. But following on from the TAB meeting on Friday at Kilcoy and Saturday at Beaudesert, this coming Saturday, racing at Bar Calden, the Birdkin Race Club with their Country Cups qualifiers and the Country Stampede qualifier. As Tony mentioned, it's a non-patron meeting there for the Yeppoon Cup program, which is also the Country Cups and Stampede qualifier session. Cloncurry and Dalby racing this coming Saturday. Sunday, the Cairns meeting transferred to Innisfail that will feature the Coral Coast Shield qualifiers. Melbourne Cup Day, meetings at Mackay, Toowoomba, Townsville, Bundaberg, Charleville, Gladstone, Cumbria, Longreach and Mount Isa. There's a TAB program at Rockhampton on Friday, the 6th of November, that will feature the 2-year-olds in the Breeders' Plates, the Fillies and the Colts and Geldings division. And because we're not on next week, I better check the calendar for Saturday week. The 7th of November, those rescheduled Country Cup qualifiers and Stampede qualifiers going to Chinchilla. The Cooktown Amateurs are on with the Cooktown Cup, Moranbah, and also the Isiswood rescheduled meeting that will feature the Ross Cup to be held there on the 7th of November.
And any news for country racing, just email me at barkersnews@optusnet.com.au. Good morning to you, Tony. Good morning, listeners. And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with Bushbeat after that great race from Melbourne.
Good on you, Rob. Have a good week. Have a good fortnight, in fact.
Good morning, Tony. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you to Rob Luck, Tony McMahon and Andrew Watts for joining us on Bushbeat. And don't forget, folks, each and every week, if you miss any of the show, you can catch up with the podcast replay available through our Whooshka platform. We'll send the link out on Twitter and also available through On The Bit Racing Australia on Facebook.